A love story can fade with time or return when you least expect it. But when two people once changed each other's lives forever, destiny often waits quietly for the perfect moment to rise again. The screen fades in with the soft glow of morning light touching the empty streets of Los Angeles. The world feels quiet, like it is holding its breath. A warm golden sun rises behind the tall buildings, casting long shadows on the pavement. As the city slowly wakes up, we see small pieces of a story scattered through the silence, each one carrying a memory that refuses to disappear. A red dress hangs alone on a wooden hanger inside a dark closet. The fabric moves gently, as if touched by a breeze, like it still remembers the woman who once wore it with fearless charm. Nearby, an old pair of opera tickets lies on a marble table, the paper slightly worn but still glowing under the morning sun. They sit beside a glass of untouched champagne, the bubbles rising and fading just like fleeting moments of the past. The camera shifts to a hotel lobby. We see it only from outside, through a tall glass door. Chairs are perfectly arranged, flowers freshly placed, everything neat and expensive, yet empty. The silence inside feels heavy, as if waiting for someone who never came back. Footsteps echo faintly, but no one appears. Only the distant sound of the city fills the air. A silhouette of a man stands near a window of a penthouse high above the streets. His figure is calm, still, and thoughtful. His hands are in his pockets, and he stares at a world he once conquered. Yet something in his posture tells us he is searching for something the city cannot give. The glass reflects part of his face, softened by time. It is Edward, older, wiser, and quietly troubled. No words come from him, only a deep breath that tells us he carries a memory he hasn't let go of. Cut to another silhouette, this time a woman walking slowly along a quiet sidewalk. The evening sun paints a warm glow around her figure. She does not rush. Instead, she walks as though she is sharing a moment with the past. Her steps are gentle, almost hesitant, like she is returning to a place she once knew well. We cannot see her face, but the movement of her hair in the wind gives her a familiar presence. It is Vivian, strong, graceful, and unsure of what waits ahead. A single rose appears next, its petals bright and soft. It sits on an empty table, left behind by someone who wanted to say something but never did. The rose becomes a symbol, a reminder of a promise that was never fully kept. The music swells lightly as the narrator's voice enters the silence, soft but full of emotion. Some stories don't end, they evolve. The visuals continue. A limousine door closing. A pair of elegant heels stepping onto clean pavement. A man's hand adjusting a tie. A woman's fingers brushing over an old photograph. The narrator returns. And sometimes, love waits for the right moment to return. In these quiet images, the audience senses it immediately. This is not just a sequel. This is a story that has lived in the hearts of millions, now awakening again like a memory finally ready to speak. And as the music slowly builds, the screen fades into a soft glow, preparing us for the chapter that follows. A single heartbeat echoes in the background. Slow, deep, familiar. The screen glows softly, and we see the world through fragments, like memories returning one piece at a time. A man's hand slides across a polished wooden desk, not rushed, almost hesitant. The camera moves closer, revealing silver cufflinks shaped like small shields, strong, elegant, timeless. These are cufflinks a man wears when he's built an empire. But today, the shine looks dull, like the story behind them has grown heavier with the years. Edward Lewis sits alone in a quiet office overlooking the city he once ruled with sharp confidence. Papers are neatly stacked. A pen rests perfectly straight. Everything looks organized, yet nothing feels complete. His eyes follow the traffic below, but his mind is somewhere else. Somewhere warm, somewhere softer, somewhere he left long ago. His reflection on the glass looks older, calmer, almost humbled by time. A soft breath escapes him, as if he just whispered a name he hasn't said in years. Vivian. Cut to a dimly lit dressing room lined with mirrors. But no face appears, only hands. A woman's hands gently touch a necklace placed delicately on a velvet cloth. Her fingers pause, lingering on the smooth surface of the pendant. It sparkles under the warm light, not because of its value, but because of the memory attached to it. A memory she has tried and failed to forget. Vivian Ward stands before the mirror, dressed simply, yet radiating a strength that rises quietly from within her. She adjusts her hair, then stops, almost frozen by a sudden wave of emotion. For a moment, her silhouette reflects the girl she once was, full of wild dreams and bright hope. But now, she carries the grace of a woman who has walked through life's storms and kept her heart alive. The narrator's voice breaks the silence, gentle but full of truth. Edward built a world with walls so high, he forgot what it felt like to let someone in. A flash of Edward gripping the edge of his desk. Cut back to Vivian, gripping the edge of the mirror. And Vivian found her voice, but lost the hand that once made her feel seen. The music deepens. A limousine's headlights sweep across the frame. A pair of heels click on a theater stage. A business meeting erupts in applause. But in between those moments, something else speaks louder than the noise of life: loneliness. A slow montage begins. Edward's hand brushing over an old envelope he never opened. Vivian stepping into an empty theater, her shadow stretching across the stage. A window view of Los Angeles glowing in the evening light. A red umbrella opening in the rain. Then, silence. The kind that comes before something life-changing. The narrator returns, voice soft but weighted with emotion. They walked separate paths, yet both carried the same unfinished chapter in their hearts. The screen fades into a warm golden tone as a symbolic moment appears. Two silhouettes walking in opposite directions on a busy street, unaware that destiny is gently guiding them back toward the same crossroads. This is where memories start to breathe again, where old feelings return in whispers, where two lives once tangled by chance begin to pull toward each other once more. Their story didn't end. It simply paused. And now, the world is about to watch it wake up again. A sudden shift in music breaks the softness. The gentle piano fades, replaced by a low, rising pulse, like a storm forming far away but moving fast. The screen flickers with city lights. Bright, sharp, restless. Los Angeles is no longer quiet. It growls with ambition, competition, and secrets that hide in polished offices and behind velvet curtains. The camera cuts to a boardroom. But instead of faces, we see symbols. A stack of contracts slammed onto a glass table. A digital clock blinking red numbers. A hand tightening around a pen until the knuckles turn white. A reflection of Edward's suit in the glossy table surface, perfect, composed, yet trembling with tension. The narrator's voice begins, deeper now, carrying the weight of new challenges. Time has changed the world around them, but the biggest battles are the ones they must face within. Cut to Vivian. She stands backstage in a dim theater. The curtains are closed, but the stage lights glow faintly through their heavy fabric, creating a golden outline, like a dream she is close to touching. Yet her hands shake as she holds a script, not from fear of failure, but from the pressure of finally stepping into the life she always wanted. Her breath is uneven. The mirror in front of her is covered with tiny notes. Encouraging words, forgotten reminders, and one message written in bold letters. You deserve this. But beneath it, someone added a smaller line. Do you truly believe that? The camera cuts quickly between their separate worlds. Edward in front of flashing cameras, reporters shouting questions he refuses to answer. Vivian practicing a scene, stopping every few moments as doubt pulls her back. A newspaper headline, Lewis Corporation, under fire, internal scandal? A theater manager whispering, if she fails opening night, the show collapses. The storm builds. Edward shuts the boardroom door behind him. His shoulders slump for the first time in years. He is surrounded by power, yet powerless to control the chaos forming around him. He holds his phone tightly, scrolling through old messages he never sent, drafts filled with words he was too afraid to say. Vivian flips through her script, but the words blur as she fights a rising panic. Her dreams are finally within reach, but success demands more than talent. It demands facing the ghosts of her past, the choices she made, and the love she walked away from. A montage hits like lightning. A broken glass on a marble floor. A spotlight flickering violently. A limo door slamming shut in the rain. A phone call going unanswered. A contract burning at the edges. A single tear falling onto a page of Vivian's script. The narrator's voice returns, more intense, sharper than before. Fate may bring them together, but the world around them? It's ready to tear everything apart. The pulse of the music grows thicker, pounding like a heartbeat trapped in a cage. A final image emerges. Edward standing on his balcony, the city blazing beneath him like a battlefield. Vivian standing alone on stage, staring into the empty seats as though searching for someone who isn't there. Two lives. Two storms. One collision waiting to happen. This is where the real story begins. Not in love, but in the fire they must walk through to reach it again. The music softens, just enough for a new feeling to rise beneath the tension. Not peace, not calm, but something quieter, warmer. A pull neither Edward nor Vivian can ignore anymore. The screen fades into a dimly lit street at dusk. Rain taps gently on the pavement, forming glowing puddles that mirror the city lights. In the soft reflections, two shadows appear, far apart, not yet touching, but moving slowly towards something that feels like fate calling them home. A phone buzzes in Edward's hand. He almost doesn't check it. His life is a whirlwind, messages, meetings, decisions waiting to be made. But this one notification stops him cold. It's not a name on the screen. Just a short message. Are you here too? Simple. Soft. But powerful enough to draw the breath from his chest. Cut to Vivian. She stands under a theater awning, rain pooling around her heels. Her phone glows with Edward's response. 3 dots typing, then disappearing. Typing again. Stopping again. Vivian's eyes lower to the umbrella in her hand, a bright red umbrella she bought years ago, the same shade as the dress that changed her life. She opens it slowly, the fabric stretching out like a memory unfolding. The scene shifts. A hotel lobby bathed in warm golden light. Guests pass by, faces blurred, conversations muted. But all the noise fades when the camera focuses on 2 umbrellas approaching the glass doors. One red, one black. They stop. Quiet. Still. Waiting. The narrator whispers through the silence. Sometimes destiny doesn't knock. It whispers through small moments. Inside the lobby, time seems to pause. We don't see their faces, only their hands, their steps, their breath. Edward's silhouette enters first, his posture heavy with 1,000 unspoken words. Vivian's silhouette appears moments later, standing by the grand staircase, her fingers brushing against the railing as though grounding herself before the world shifts. The camera lingers on their hands. Not touching, not reaching, just existing in the same space after years of distance. The air between them is warm with old memories and new fear. A montage begins, slow and delicate. Edward adjusting his tie, suddenly unsure. Vivian smoothing her hair, pretending she isn't trembling. A chandelier above them flickering softly, casting shifting light patterns on the floor. A hotel staff member placing 2 champagne glasses on a tray, side by side. The narrator returns, voice soft but full of hope. A chance meeting, or fate correcting a mistake. Vivian turns first, just slightly. Her silhouette glows under the golden lights. Edward steps forward. His footsteps echo, steady but cautious, as though he fears the moment might break apart if he moves too fast. The world goes silent. The music slows into a gentle hum. The camera moves to a close-up of a single moment. Their shoulders turning toward each other. Their hands stopping inches apart. Their breath catching in the same second. This is not the loud reunion of a romantic movie. It is the quiet, fragile kind. The kind that holds more truth than any dramatic scene could ever show. Because real love doesn't need fireworks. It needs presence. It needs honesty. It needs 2 people brave enough to stand in front of each other after time, distance, mistakes, and change. The narrator whispers the line that completes the moment, and in one heartbeat, everything becomes possible again. Edward and Vivian remain faceless silhouettes, but their connection glows brighter than the hotel lights around them. This is the spark. This is the turning point. This is where the past and present collide, and something beautiful begins to breathe again. The warmth of reunion fades like the last glow of sunset slipping behind tall buildings. The music turns darker, still soft but heavy, like a truth waiting to break open. Because every love story, no matter how magical, must face the world outside that moment. The screen shifts to the backstage of the theater. Vivian stands in the middle of a room filled with costumes, scattered props, and scripts piled on chairs. But it's not the clutter that troubles her. It's the silence before judgment. The kind of silence that comes right before the lights rise and the world watches to see if she's enough. Her new role is the biggest opportunity of her life. A chance to prove she isn't just a memory in someone else's story, but a woman with a future she built on her own. But pressure doesn't whisper. It shouts. We see her practicing alone, her shadow stretching across the stage like a second version of herself. The confident Vivian she wants to be. But her voice cracks, her hands shake, her breath shortens, as fear slips under her ribs like a cold blade. Cut to Edward. He walks into a boardroom buzzing with voices that sound more like threats than opinions. Papers scatter across the table. A lawyer whispers urgently. A rival smirks with victory already in his eyes. Edward's empire, the kingdom he spent decades building, is crumbling from the inside. He grips the edge of the table so tightly that the veins in his hand rise. For a man who always had all the answers, Uncertainty hits him like a strike of lightning. He looks out the window at the city lights, but even the glow feels distant, unreachable. A montage hits. Quick flashes, sharp and emotional.